This video is not supposed to be a step-by-step instruction as to how to modify your trailer. I'm merely sharing my ideas and hope it'll inspire you to try your own. But as usual, always seek professional advice before starting anything. What a gorgeous day. The birds are singing. It's warm, it's sunny. I've been waiting forever for this. I'm dying to get out to camp as everybody is. However, I'm also still modifying my trailer and I've been dying for a warm, sunny day forever. Now I have it. I'm not just gonna bask out in the sun. It means I can start something off that I've been trying to start off for weeks, and that is converting this trailer to solar power. Now, in my other trailer, you might be familiar with this. It's a flexible ETFE panel. This one in particular is a Chinese panel, but I also use a Renogy as well. They were perfect for a fold-up trailer because I could only take so much weight on the fold-up trailer or I couldn't lift the roof. It really did well on that. It took me a few passes at getting rid of my PET panels and changing them to ETFE, but it worked well. However, things are different right now because I have a hard shell trailer with a permanent roof. So, although I'll probably still use the flexible panels, it also gives me another option, which is a glass panel. This is a 270 watt polycrystalline panel, glass, which was made by Canadian Solar. It's huge, it's massive, it's a little heavy. However, this trailer can take it. And now I don't have to use solely flexible panels. I can actually see how well a glass panel does. Now I've actually had this for about 3 years. It was a gift from a friend of mine, thanks Burke, but I've never been able to use it. It was far too heavy to use it on a fold-up trailer. But now I have the perfect roof for a solar panel like this. I'm going to use it. Now there's many ways of mounting a solar panel to the roof of an RV. Some use adhesives, some use bolts. But one thing you do have to understand when you're trying to figure a way to mount it is there's a good chance, and I learned this the hard way, you're going to have to remove it again. Technology changes, technology fails, you want to get a new, better model and stuff like that, so I'd never make anything absolutely permanent. Plus, you might just want to get it off to clean it, to store it. There's a multitude of reasons not to do it permanently. So I'm going to try things a little bit different. Instead of fastening it directly to my roof, I'm going to put it on rails. Using rails for solar panels might seem a little unusual, but before you think I'm going off the rails on a crazy train, let me explain my reasoning. So this is what I want to use for a rail. It's 1.5 by 1.5 L extrusion aluminum, and it's quite thick. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick, very strong, very sturdy, and I've got 2 of these about, 5 or 6 feet long. And the nice thing about using a rail is it doesn't matter what I change in the future, I'm only drilling new holes in the rail. I'm not drilling holes in the roof. So I think it's going to work well. To fasten the panel to the rail, however, I need brackets. I saw some available online, but they didn't really suit my idea. So why not just trim off a length of the rail and make my own? I save money and get a little exercise, and the rhythm of the saw keeps you in the groove. Filing, however, is like a cat sliding off a tin roof. After a little cutting, a little drilling, and the brackets were ready to be bolted on the panel. I used 2 bolts for the corners and 1 for the middle brackets. I made a total of 10, including 4 rail extensions. But this all leads to one problem. How am I going to get this massive solar panel on the roof of my trailer by myself. Once the panel brackets were bolted in place, I added pool noodle strips for protection. With the panel up, I could now position the rails. As I wanted the solar panel to have a little airspace above the roof and a slight incline towards the back, I did a little measuring to determine what length the side extensions needed to be. This is the middle extension bracket. To get the positioning perfect, I bolted the top first and then drilled the bottom hole later. Once all the holes were drilled, I propped the panel on a block of wood so I could get the lower bolts in place, which were then secured by nuts. As an afterthought, I cut some pieces of rubber from a floor runner. This should have been glued to the rail before I fastened the panel, but I like to do things backwards sometimes. Now was the point of no return, drilling holes through the rail and through the roof. I only wanted to do this once. Well, this is definitely not my favorite part. I've got a hole through the roof. What I have to do is I got to put a fender washer in like that, and then the bolt, and then put it through the rail on the roof. However, I've also got to put caulking on it, and that's what the messy part is. It's a two-person job, but it's just me. And although it was nice and sunny when I started, it's now starting to rain and I got holes in my roof. So it's probably going to be a silent movie because I'm going to be doing a lot of swearing if things don't work. Well, let's get going. Okay, it's one. Two. Now it's time for the roof. I'm using Decor RV lap sealant for this. It's great for waterproofing any holes in the roof. The plan was simple enough. Thread the lock nut and secure with vice grips as I turn the bolt from underneath. The only problem with the plan was that I unthreaded the nut by bracing the vice grips. Something's not right. Mistakes are all part of the learning process, and no harm was done. Yet I still turned those vice grips counterclockwise, but at least I'd secured more thread. Oh boy. Yeah, it's like spider webs. Now just a little bit more lap sealant and that one's ready to go. Now I just got to do it 3 more times. So putting these wires in is a bit of a challenge, as they've got to go in here somewhere and there's not a lot of room. But to make them waterproof, I'm going to use these MC4 connectors just under there. These are the wires from the solar panels. Now typically MC4 connectors are like this, and they have several components. One is a nut, and these 2 gripping components. One's like a rubber washer and the other's, I just call it a gripper. I don't know. And the way they work is when the nut's tightened, it tightens around the cable, making it a waterproof seal. Now, for putting it in the hole, it was a little bit different. What I had to do is to take one of these guys and modify it. The one on the top is the original housing, while the one below is the one I cut down to suit. I also enlarged the hole so the cable would pass right through. The rest goes outside and it locks it in place, and of course I'm going to have to use some sealant as well. And yes, it's going to be another messy thing where I'm going to get my fingers all gooey. I'm getting kind of used to that by now though. Putting a cable in the hole was the easy part. Tightening the nuts, not so much. There's actually a special tool for this, but it wouldn't work in such a narrow space. That's when the good old needle nose pliers came in handy. After a little bit more goo to seal it all in place, that was it for my roof experience. Now the question's probably going to come up, why didn't I just use VHB or very high bond 2-sided tape instead of putting bolt holes through the roof of my trailer? Well, my main reason is I like the security of bolts. This is absolutely going nowhere under any temperature. Is it ever going to fall off while I'm down on the highway? Now, I know there's a lot of good things to say about the VHB tape, and I may have other applications, but for this one, I would prefer the bolts. And not only that, the odds of me ever wanting to remove this rail is probably high. And if I have to remove 2-sided tape, chances are I would damage the fiberglass roof. Whereas with the bolts, I just undo the 4 bolts and there's just a little bit of caulking here. So everybody has their own ways of doing things. This is the way I'm comfortable with. Things were a lot easier inside the trailer. And if you've been following my galley modifications, you'll see that it has little resemblance to the one originally provided, as I've been doing a lot of customizing. And in this particular case, I had to cut a hole for the solar meter. From my old trailer, I salvaged the 130 amp hour AGM battery, it was pretty easy to move it into the outback and reinstall it under the front bench. The object on the right is my wood stove in storage. Well, we're almost ready to make sparks fly. I've got the solar panel mounted on the roof, I've got it wired, I've got the battery hooked up, and I've got the remote meter. But there's one thing still missing in this puzzle, and that's where is the controller. I've got a EPEVER tracer controller. Where did I hide it? Back here. It's out of the way, it's got circulation, and I don't need to see it because I have the remote meter. Now I've got a camera hooked up there to show the remote meter. All I have to do is hook up one last wire and I can show you live what it's going to give me for power. So without any further delay, where's my screwdriver? Now to make sure this is going to work, I actually had to drain the battery as much as I could by putting the refrigerator on full and letting the fan go full 4 hours. So now that there's a little less charge, let's see what we actually get. Wow, 13.7 amps. I've never had 13.7 amps. 13.4, it's going up and down, but that is pretty darn good, I think, and that's just one solar panel. I'm happy with it. Well, one thing I didn't talk about, and it was kind of intentional, was the wiring. I don't really feel comfortable showing you how to wire a trailer. I think a qualified electrician should. So I left that out, but not only that, the manufacturer actually did wire for solar right from the roof and in behind the galley, and that's what I tapped into. However, it was a very, very thin gauge. It wasn't up to the wattage that I had of the panel that I just put on the roof. So I've got to upgrade that, which probably means there's a little bit more resistance. So once I upgrade, chances are I'll even get a little more power. Not that I really need it right now, but there's always other things I'm going to do. I'm not done. This is really another part one of solar because there's so many other things I want to do in that regards with this particular trailer. But at least I accomplished my first goal, a functioning solar array on my eggshell camper. Well, that's great. Battery's all charged up, and like my old trailer, my new one now is independent for electricity. Using solar, I can go off the grid, not have to worry about plug-ins or anything like that. You know, now that I have the cabinet the way I want it, I've got all the space, I've got solar, I'm totally ready to camp. But guess what? I can't. Just like everybody else, I'm kind of stuck right now, and I can't jump the queue. Whenever they say that I'm allowed to go out in the wilderness, believe me, I'm one of the first ones that is going to be out there. But in the meantime, you know what? I'm happy with it. Still have lots more things to do. There'll be another video or two of my other fix-up to the trailer. But I do want to say thank you to all my viewers for watching my videos, for supporting me in these trying times. They're going to be better, and they're going to be a lot more appreciated when we're all out there again in the woods. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please check out my other ones as well. And yeah, I do need a haircut, but hey, there's no one to cut it, and I'm not going to cut it myself. So you might see me reverting to my hippie days. Peace. Well, despite all the problems, I made it to the end without cussing. Down the highway, or did I? At 50, 60 kilometers an hour in a crosswind, make sure you've got the most secure... Where is that bird? Yep, there's always a critic.